Mm-hmm. Wanna know? Mhm. Hey Toto. Hey buddy. Hello. Oh, what the heck? That was weird. A little dark on the light. Never use that thing like that. Never.
I knew there'd be lots of people, but the city itself, it's really big.
Yeah, makes it easy to slip through the cracks. Hey, any news?
Navgalis, are you after the demons?
I'm after a few things. You got anything?
Alright, one sec. Oh, didn't hear what he said.
Another time.
Anyone strange poking around the market?
You mean more than usual? Actually, maybe. The smuggler who supplies Miro, she's acting weird. Took off, though. Couldn't tell you where.
Got it.
There's so much on display, and it's just out there, where anyone could steal it.
Is that a bounty
If
board?
it stands not watched, there's a nasty spell on the most valuable item. And a random one, just for fun.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's some
I guess
magical
I'm not
shit.
used to having anything worth stealing.
But it looks soft covering that door, I'm not gonna lie.
Hey there. Hi.
That was a
Shop's
woman.
pretty new, but I've got armor, clothing.
Not gonna lie.
Come, take a look.
Oh, that's actually. Or you can't preview it. I like that they have this, but at the same time, I don't.
We'll get you something.
Maybe it's for like later.
Coin to spare? Thank you.
Demons in the streets tonight. Can you get somewhere safe?
Yeah.
Almost there. Remnants ahead.
Remnants ahead.
Sure thing.
Forgot what that room does.
Handoff. Third bell. Late.
Bells ring when ships go in and out. Could be using them for timing, near the docks. I think our smuggler's on a deadline. The Relic's pull agrees. Let's visit the docks.
Oh my god. Hold on. Something up there? Up there. Oh, I couldn't. Really can't tell. Whatever. Get and grab the side.
Elevator's locked. Someone forgot to bribe the dock.
No one's gonna do anything when I do
Get up
this.
for a walk. This isn't
Might as well
the
just hit
way to the
everything.
docks.
Yeah, it's giving me so much stuff. Don't care about this, see? Didn't even realize what she said.
Food
I need to turn this up.
Oh, yes, please.
I think si does it.
All right, through here.
Just want to make sure you guys don't hear the actual words.
I'm on it.
I'm guessing you know all the shortcuts in Dogtown. All its secrets.
No. If someone thinks they know all Ducktown secrets, they're either kidding themselves or scamming you.
Kinda supposed to break everything. Kinda weird. Nice. Oh, I'm understanding how he fights with this. Okay, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
We're back. Wanted to know what relics
We're about to be nice. We're about to be going crazy for real.
Come on. This path will swing back to the docks.
Get my sensitivity up. Yeah, that's way better. Oh yeah. Great.
Get clear.
More demons.
Handle them. Brooke, your head.
Forgot about that. Oh. The hell? Heal.
Hitting us from range.
Yeah, these range dudes are a problem.
Under fire. Watch it.
Nicely done, Brooke.
I'm getting the controls back.
The longer that relic's in
I'm getting the
Dogtown,
controls back. Let me settle in, man. Let me settle in.
My town.
It's actually pretty quick. Let me see something. Yeah, that's nice.
Are all your jobs like this, Neff?
Dangerous and cutting it close. I don't know. Maybe 3 out of 5?
But also
No effort.
important and kind of exciting?
I could use less excitement.
I mean, good luck, Cat.
Demons? Why the supplies? I barely got away.
And not without bruises. Do you hear next side? Homie, take the night off. Streets ain't safe tonight.
They look like excavation stuff. Cool. But say this is my first healing belt. My first healing belt. Did we level up, Al? How do I get to my skill tree? Oh, no. Forgot I was in there. Alright, let's get it.
Venatori? You're serious?
Cult's getting bold again.
What can I get for you? Some
Excuse me, gentlemen. I need this right here. Excuse me. So rude. You didn't move. Thank you.
Home sweet home. Enjoying the tour?
Oh, so that's not your home. This is your home. Oh. Wait. Oh, that is the same thing.
We're getting closer.
Oh, uh-oh. Bro, that stagger's stupid. Honestly, I gotta do it for the stagger. Okay. I see the combos. You can go boom, 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 or you can go boom, 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 boom. You can go boom, 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 bam, bam. Oh yeah, this is gonna be nice. Gonna be nice.
Got it.
Soon, the buyer.
Meeting. Right, a meeting, but where? The trail's starting to fray.
Wrong turn. Nice relic. Shouldn't it belong to the Venatori?
Not a chance.
They cannot be this. Press them further.
Oh, looks like we have company.
Is everyone all right? Nev, you're back in the city.
Templar Rana Savas. Don't say you missed me.
I wasn't going to.
Really? Because I heard there's a relic loose. With red lyrium?
How do you... Never mind. You can't say. You never can.
Rook, meet my friend Rana. At least I think we're friends.
Yes. And Rook, if you're with Nev, I take it I can trust you?
I'd like to think so.
All right. If you have anything on the relic...
I thought Templars worked against mages.
This isn't the South. I work to stop illegal magic, that's all.
You're working the case alone?
Not if you help. There's a rumor the relic trades hands tonight, and Albin Bataris is the buyer.
A Magister's son. Interesting. I should get moving.
Nev...
Oh. Alright. Wait. When I'm playing, I'm looking? Wait, oh, you said when I'm playing, I'm looking away? Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. I know that one. It's not in full screen? What's going on?
I get the feeling you two have stories.
And they all start like this.
With me annoying you? Harsh, but fair. Look, you're busy. We just got attacked, which means you won't leave until you're sure no one else is lurking around.
And you won't wait.
What can I say? Work to do.
Where are you going?
For a walk to the spillway.
I'll catch up when I'm done.
If you say so. Our trail is frayed, but the spillway's our best bet. Let's go.
Alright. Oh yeah, I wanted to see what this full screen. Window borders windowed. I think borderless windowed is what we actually want. Down here. Need some health. Thought there was gonna be some. Thought there was gonna be some little quick thing here, but just not a little fight or nothing. I think that can come down. Maybe not. I gotta make sure I'm telling her to do that. Can't I change how they do stuff? Alright. That's everywhere in this thing. You know what? I haven't been using this. Let me make sure I'm using that. Like weird, because like he blocks and then like doesn't move. Like the weirdest thing.
Ron is not a shadow dragon. So you work with Templars too?
Ron is clean and her information's good. The rest? Only when I have to.
And the spillway?
Rana mentioned Albin Bataris. She doesn't share rumors unless they're likely. Albin's father oversaw some construction there. If he's visiting this part of town, that narrows the search. A barrier. They don't want people getting near the deal. Find the unshielded crystals and we're through.
One down.
Must be one left. That's it. We can cut through the barrier now. We need to keep moving. Voices. There's someone up ahead.
Your relic.
Gods rise and power with them. The glory of Tevinter reborn.
Albin's our buyer, and Divinatori. Sounds like the cult is working for the gods.
You're supposed to wait.
Just a taste of that power.
He's using it now? Move! We need to get closer. We can't let him bolt.
We have our relic buyer.
Divinatori don't need that relic.
You're here to stop me. You can't stop the Venatori. This power.
Has a risen god. Control it.
Shut up.
Now.
Oh, move. Why is he moving? There's no stamina bar.
You won't be releasing any more demons.
And you're the smuggler. I know you. You're part of the Thread Crime Syndicate. Smuggling, sure. But Red Lyrium. Working with Venatori. It's not your style.
Here they are. My son is no cultist. He was completely misled. We appreciate your help, Knight Commander. Let's go.
Nice try. The Venatori rise.
You know he's guilty. How much did it cost the Magister?
Watch it, Gallus, or you'll be charged.
With what? I tie something up and you undo it. Isn't this familiar?
Save the sob story. We got the smuggler. Or do you want Bataris to release her, too?
I'll find a way to fix this.
Damn it.
So that's a day in Minrathis.
Like all the rest.
And here I thought we'd say hello to the Shadow Dragons and be on our way.
Someone's a dreamer. We got the relic and the smuggler. The shadows will watch the cult. If that leads to the gods, they'll send word. It's not perfect, but count your wins. You don't always get them, especially here.
It wasn't a perfect ending, but Docktown was safe. From tonight's demons, anyway. Nev's past was coming back to haunt her. She just didn't know it yet.
Oh, nice, we leveled up. Need to build more. I need to start throwing my shield more. I really forgot about that. They did. And it disrupts people. Oh, that might be barrier. I did not know this was a thing. Oh, this doesn't have that. Maybe she should be my healer. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Alright, so let's go. So Nev has this. Gonna help with my. It's gonna help with that. It automatically has that. So other thing, she's gonna have this. That's not bad. So should this person just be my support? Maybe she does healing and let me see what the other. So yeah, she's more for attack stuff. I'm gonna want actual heals. You were watching it? Yeah.
You like it? How do you like it?
A little bit I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, this is. I already know this is crazy. Are they playing? Oh, see, I was no, actually, yeah, I was watching Heroes versus. You think the Galactic one? I already know Dez is gonna like. Yeah. Mark didn't play, right? Yeah, I haven't. I didn't see Mark play yet. Yeah, that shit's dope. Okay, I'm basically done. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So since we're just gonna use her as attack, let's make sure that Nev gets a skill point towards. Yeah, and see, we want that rage. I want the field of view to be closer. Do they have field of view in this? Yeah, I don't think. I don't think so. I don't want to contract a little bit. Where are we running this at? This only at like 100 and something. Where? Is that because I'm in? Oh, no, it's not why. Alright, fuck it. Wait.
3 seals here. They look more powerful than the ones we saw before. It'll take more than a champion's essence to breach this.
Revenant essence.
The deeper currents.
Back, grab a little food. While I'm eating, we can change the game up for a sec. All right, where was I at? Where was I at? I was somewhere. Use. Let me go to playlist. Did I finish this?
What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back with the Return of the Maker in the Ultimate Universe. Okay, so there's a couple things that we have to flesh out before we officially.
I think I did.
This is Rob, and we are here with Ultimate Endgame issue number 3. And this is one of those comics where, depending on where you stand, either you're fine with what happens, or you are pissed, or you're kind of caught off guard. But the reality is that this is one of those very divisive comics that Marvel's released in recent years. There are a couple phrases here on the first page that I've to reveal those is to spoil what happens. But what this does is this picks up in the aftermath of Tony Stark essentially having to destroy his father. The reason being because Tony's in possession of an Immortus engine. Why does that matter? Immortus engines are time travel devices. It's one of the things that we learned at the very beginning of all this when Hickman first kicked off the new Ultimate Universe, short-lived as it seems to be. Those who have an Immortus engine can control all space and time. The Maker is here in the city. As a quick little bit of a refresher here, right? One of the things to keep in mind is that at the end of Ultimate Invasion, going into Ultimate Universe number 1, the Maker and Tony Stark's father were locked away inside the city. It was supposed to open after 2 years. That 2-year window has passed. The Ultimates have entered into the city. Now they're essentially stuck here. But because time passes differently inside the city itself, at this point in time, Howard Stark and the Maker have basically been fighting for eons. And while a kind of stalemate had been secured, the reality is that the entrance of the Ultimates introduced an unstable element. In effect, they provided a means for the Maker to be able to locate Howard Stark, who for the most part has just kind of stayed hidden. More so than that, the city is the Maker and the Maker is the city. They're all kind of one and the same. And that's what's going on with all these henchmen, right, that the Ultimates are fighting. They're basically similar to the Maker himself. He literally turned himself into a kind of gas form that in turn imbued everybody, which is part of the reason why everyone in the city, or most everybody in the city, is part of the Maker. But with Tony Stark having to destroy his father in order to keep himself from dying with the loss of the Immortus engine, now he's just kind of in a fugue state, right? He's just sitting there dealing with everything that's going on. And that's why America
I gotta turn this up a bit.
Get your head together. We're all going to die. And the response of Venom, right? We're all going to die anyway. And Peter's just like, I hate when I'm right. But the point is, you switch over to Richard Parker, right? The son of Spider-Man, talking to Mary Jane Watson. And she's just kind of screaming at him, right? You know, sorry might have worked the first time you snuck out, Richard, but not the fifth. And that's where he tells her, I made it this time. But there was a pack of velociraptors
In the negative 30s,
that
dude.
tried to attack me, and ultimately that's the reason why I'm late, right? And that's where she just says, you could have died out there. You are not in the city anymore. And that's where Richard just says, I should be in the city. I should be with Dad. Now, this is one of the things to keep in mind about what's been happening, right? We long saw a while ago in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic that they now reside in the Savage Land. It's essentially a base of operations, but the Savage Land, instead of existing down in Antarctica like it does in the main Marvel Universe, that instead it exists under the city of New York. But it is still a safe haven from everything going on the surface. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Because Mary Jane just kind of keeps screaming at her son a little bit, right? Like, you're just a child, right? You are my child, and I want you where it's safe. And that's kind of the funny thing, is Richard responds kind of the way that you would expect him to, given everything that's going on, right? Where he says, so we're just supposed to stay here and hide, right? All that crap about responsibility, community, integrity, all that was crap, wasn't it? And she just tells him language, but that's a fair argument to make, right? You can't really, on one hand, instill in Richard Parker the idea that you have to learn to care about others more than you care about yourself, and then at the same time say, the smart thing for us to do is hide. On a moral level, it doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense, but at the same time, Richard's young. The reality here is that...
Pretty sure I watched this.
Child, right? Your prefrontal cortex. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back with the Return of the Maker in the Ultimate Universe. Okay, so there's a couple things that we have to flesh out before we officially kickstart this video. And the first thing to really establish here is what's been happening up until this point, which is not overly complex, but
Hold on, let me...
bears some measure of importance when it comes to establishing what's happening here. So, as most of you guys probably know, Earth 6160 was just an alternate reality at one point in time.
Alright, turn that down to like 11.6.
Earth 616.
That's probably a lot better.
Trying to recreate the original Ultimate Universe.
Playlist.
What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back with Iron Fist, because you guys loved the last video that we did. And this is the war, or the tournament, of the 7 capital cities of heaven, depending on how you want to look at it. And it's amazing. So this picks up with Danny Rand and Kunlun, because as we mentioned at the end of the last video, he was brought back to Kunlun because he was told that the tournament was beginning to take place. But Danny Rand had never heard of the tournament. He didn't know that any of this has gone on. And so what ends up going on here is that while Danny is reading the Book of the Iron Fist, which essentially has all this history about all the various Iron Fists that have existed in Marvel Comics that he knew nothing about, he's summoned by UT and brought to UT directly. Now, for those of you guys a little unfamiliar with this, Lei Kun the Thunderer is basically the trainer of Iron Fists within the city of Kunlun. But UT is basically the guy that oversees everything, right? It's leader, essentially.
Yes, ma'am.
So the whole explanation is given here to Danny Rand, where he's told Kunlun is one of 7 capital cities of heaven, each appearing on the mortal plane according to timetables charted amongst the stars. But once every 88 years, these appearances align in the heavenly convergence, and we celebrate this with a mighty tournament. Sections of each city join together, creating the heart of heaven, a palace where our contests take place. Aspects of each city, as well as of Earth itself, will be found here. It is unlike anywhere you have ever been, with rules and laws only unto itself. In each city resides an immortal weapon like yourself, with their own icon and fighting style, each as unique as you, Iron Fist. During the last convergence, your predecessor, Orson Randall, refused to fight. For this dishonor, he was to be stripped of
Excuse me.
his gifts. He resisted, and another city's champion was killed. He then fled, and the celebration ended in disgrace for us all. That will not come to pass this time. Do you have any other questions? And Danny's like, yeah. Why did my father become the Iron Fist? Now, this is kind of a side story for everything that was going on. And while this story will cover it, the reality here is it kind of distracts from the main
My grandma just got me some curtains. You should put them up.
But it's not really the reason you came here. So, if you guys are interested, we can make another video on it. But the long and short of it is that Danny Rand's father was in line to be an Iron Fist. Wendell Rand was supposed to be that guy. What ended up happening is that he basically chickened out. He kind of gave up at the moment that he was supposed to face Shu Lao. Now, it's a lot more, complicated than that. It's not like he's a coward where he was just terrified, like an old
Oh,
woman.
that
He
actually.
was hurled
Fuck.
or anything like that. He simply chose not to do it, and instead
Oh, that's
went
like
back to the world of mortal men, where ultimately he met Danny Rand's mom, and then of course they had Danny Rand, and then Wendell tried to come back to Kunlun.
Wait,
hence
why?
the origin of Danny. But let me know if you guys are interested in
Oh,
seeing
it's
that.
because of the
We can make a
light.
whole other video on it if you really, really are. But as the convergence begins
Either
to
way,
get
I
into
can-
place, they're kind of taken to a separate section of the city,
Yeah.
at least Danny Rand is. And it's kind of fascinating the way that it's explained to him, right? He's told it's one city made of many cities, a place that is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Footing across Earth, we fight for honor and glory. We fight for Kunlun and for the right to our place on the earthly realm. For you see, Earth is the prize. And Danny asks, like, what in the world does this mean? And the response of UT is like, it's precisely what it sounds like, Danny Rand. The battles here decide the order of the cities of heaven in the celestial clockwork. Failure will lock us away from your world for half a century, not a decade. These are the stakes. Now, the reason why he says half a century and not a decade is because Kunlun is only accessible like once every 10 years. But again, as it's being established here, if they lose, Kunlun will not be accessible once every 10 years. It'll be accessible once every half century. And that's assuming that they don't win the next tournament when the whole alignment takes place. So again, the nature of Kunlun as well, kind of being a dimensional location, is that like so many other dimensions, it is accessible regardless of the circumstances. If you're someone like Doctor Strange or somebody like that, you just make a portal, you walk in there, what's up UT, and then you leave, right? But when you're someone like Danny Rand or any regular mortal on Earth, you just kind of stumble across it, right? And that's basically it, which is exactly what happened to Danny Rand's granddad, right? But the fact is, like, once they actually get into this tournament themselves, we're introduced to the other fighters here. And I'll tell you guys right now, man, the Prince of Orphans, son. Dude, that guy is next level. Dude, it's nuts. Dude, it's absolutely, dude, man. I'm sorry, I'm so excited, people. Y'all will see what I'm talking about when we get to the tournament, man. It's bananas, right? So, like, Fat Cobra, right? His size and strength are only outclassed by his speed. The Bride of Nine Spiders, who's so dope. Her heart pumps the coldest blood imaginable and horrors inconceivable to mortal men. Dog Brother #1, hero to all the strays on all the streets of the world, a prankster assassin who rules the Undercity. Tiger's beautiful daughter. Many a man has found her doom at her hand or in her bed. And it sucks what happens to her, man. Right? And then, of course, the Prince of Orphans, mysterious even to we who cultivate unending mystery, and the new weapon of Kunzi, Davos, the steel serpent, master of the cranes. Now, of course, at that point, Danny Rand initially goes to like attack Davos, right? Because they have a very, very lengthy history together. And one of the things that's established in that story with like Orson Randall and Wendell Rand and all that kind of stuff is that Davos' history with Danny is only the most recent history that he has with Danny's family. In fact, he's been feuding with his father and even Orson long before all of this even happened, before Danny was ever even dreamed of by his father, right? But at the end of the day, one of the things that had happened in the previous video was that Davos had seemingly been working alongside a guy named Zhao in order to try to take over Rand Industries and so on and so forth. He and Danny Rand fought, and the plot will basically become clearer as time goes on because Davos, Zhao, Crane Mother, they're all kind of involved together. Now, the reason why Davos is the fighter for Crane Mother
This isn't as good as I thought it was gonna be.
This is going to be one of the best comic book storylines that we've ever covered on the channel because it is Spider-Man fighting the Hand, but it's not just Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher. So if you weren't sitting up in your chair before, you are now. So what this does is this initially opens up with Spider-Man being asked a favor by Reed Richards. Now, we will offer an explanation on the Hand here in a minute because I feel like it'll be necessary. But the long and short of this is that while Spider-Man's dealing with the Hand, he gives us kind of a flashback, right? And Reed Richards asks him, do you have a relationship with Daredevil? And of course, Spider-Man, always joking, says, I don't kiss and tell. But Reed says a professional relationship, right? He's more likely to listen to you than most others. And so Reed explains, right? He says, yesterday he came to me with something astounding, a data drive built from the unstable molecules of an old Fantastic Four costume that was torn in battle, and that it was probably left by Johnny Storm. And where Spider-Man asks the question of why he should care about the drive and what's on the drive, Reed says, one engineered from unstable molecules, it could pretty much have whatever it wants on it, right? It has limitless capacity and redundant self-healing firewalls. And according to Daredevil, critical organizational and financial data on 5 of the world's most powerful crime cartels. So we're talking about Hydra, Advanced Idea Mechanics, the Hand, the whole 9 yards. And so that's where Reed says that Daredevil had Reed pull data on Black Spectre, but instead of giving the drive back, that Daredevil took off. Right, that Reed says he took advantage of the fact that I cannot abandon this experiment without destroying a neighboring universe. And Peter just says, I mean, I can without inadvertently destroying a neighboring universe. I'll look into it and I'll be back. And that's when you pick up with Peter when he starts to encounter the Hand ninjas. Now, let's have a conversation about this. So the Hand in Marvel Comics technically dates back pretty far, but the only real origin of the Hand that you need to concern yourself with came from the miniseries Elektra the Hand, when Elektra Natchios became the leader of the Hand. And what that origin specified was that the Hand as we know it now originated with a guy named Kaganobu Yoshioka. And while there are a lot of things that surround his motivation, the long and short of it is that Yoshioka had basically wanted to ally various samurai schools or organizations within the nation of Japan that would stand against the Japanese government. And while over time, some of those factions were infiltrated by a group called the Snake Root Clan and so on and so forth, ultimately they all unified. The issue with the Hand is that over time, it was ultimately influenced by a being called the Beast, which is basically this demonic entity. And in fact, the Hand as it exists now, which is to say, being able to resurrect dead ninjas, different things like that, it all comes from the power of the Beast. What makes the Hand so dangerous in Marvel Comics is 2 things. Number 1, the fact that they can resurrect dead ninjas. But number 2, when the Hand comes for you, they'll do it in one of 2 ways. Either the Hand will send like a singular ninja after you, right? And they will be so prodigious at what they do, they will kill you with no one even knowing how in the world they killed you at all. It'll be a mystery to virtually anybody out there outside of people like Wolverine or Daredevil who have regular dealings with the Hand. Even Spider-Woman Jessica Drew would be able to figure it out because she's dealt with the Hand as well. The alternative to this is that the Hand sends everyone after you. They'll send hundreds of ninjas after you, which is exactly what happens here. And so that's where Reed tells Peter, if the rest of the underworld has learned of that drive's existence, heavy hitters are already on its trail. And that's why Peter realizes the Hand is here. Now, he says, the Hand were scoping out Daredevil's offices from a neighboring rooftop, which they can do because Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock, has the worst kept secret identity since Hannah Montana. And man, whatever you're doing right now that does not involve fighting ninjas, Matt, I hope you're having a better night than I am, because Peter has to deal with these guys right off the bat. The kicker about this is that while Matt Murdock is in his office, the Punisher is there. Right? And that's where Matt just says, it's a little late for a visit, Frank, even if you're packing a bottle of rye instead of a gun, which makes sense. All great conversations start off with alcohol. And he just says, it's the good stuff. That must mean you want something. And so initially, Matt asks Frank who his friend is. And Frank's kind of dismissive at first. And Matt just says, the whiskey almost hides it, but it's there beneath the scent of sterile gauze, raspberry, and jojoba oil, not the shampoo that I would expect from you. And that's when you end up finding out the person that Matt Murdock is talking about is Rachel Cole. Now, we will technically get her origin story, at least to a degree, as we get further through this, but the long and short of it is that Rachel Cole was introduced during Greg Rucka's run on The Punisher, Volume 9, which is a phenomenal run for Frank Castle's character. Greg Rucka knocked it out of the park. But Rachel Cole was basically a woman whose entire family and seemingly everybody at her wedding was shot up. So it wasn't that dissimilar from like Kill Bill. But the important thing is that she's essentially on the same path as the Punisher. Her goal is to go after the Exchange, the group that was behind the deaths of her family, her friends, and her husband. So their similarities are striking there. But do not let that concept fool you. Rachel Cole is a hoss. She is amazing. And that's where Frank just starts addressing Matt directly. And he says, you have a problem, Matt, and I can solve it. Now, Matt's just kind of like, is it the way you solve all your problems? And the Punisher just says, everyone knows that you have the drive, and they will kill you to get it, right? I can use it. I can hurt them with it. I can keep it safe. So give me the drive. And Matt Murdock just kind of dismisses this, right, with almost a bit of a smirk, where he's like, you can use it, Frank, right? You would use it to kill people. Aside from the moral objection, that would make me an accessory. You can keep it safe. Right now, it is as safe as it's ever going to get. So it's a good try, Frank, right? A social call, booze to try and muddy my senses, but I know a setup when I see one. And so at that point, Frank is just like, you're blind, Murdock. And when that happens, it's basically the cue for Rachel to detonate the ceiling, literally the roof, blow the whole thing in, which that is definitely enough to muddy the senses of Matt Murdock. And so where initially Rachel and Frank confront Matt with the intention of taking the drive, Spider-Man comes busting into the room with all these hand ninjas coming after him. And he's like, hey, apologies for the damage, kind of in a hurry with the ninjas and all that. And then Peter looks around and he's like, of course, the Punisher. And he's brought a friend who's a girl. And Peter has a thing for redheads. And she's not that bad looking. So you guys can kind of see where that's going to a degree. And that's where Matt's just like, we have a problem, right? And Spider-Man just says, yes, exactly that, right? We have a problem. And I don't think that they're here to do the windows. Because again, Peter was only facing off against a handful of hand ninjas. Now, there's dozens of them, damn near 100 at this point. And so he's just like, I mean, it can't really hurt to ask, right? And so Frank's just like, fall back, right? Get to the choke point. Because Frank Castle understands when it comes to facing off against the hand, they'll surround you as fast as humanly possible, and they will come in with overwhelming force, which is exactly what they're doing. You got to funnel them into a choke point and take as many as you can out while you can. Guerrilla warfare tactics, pot shots, whatever phrase you choose to use to describe surviving as best you can when it comes to a force like that. But that's the crazy thing, is that in the middle of all this, Peter's just like, wait, right? No killing. Nobody dies. And Frank's just like, everybody dies, kid. And he says, sometimes you even get to pick when. And honestly, that terrifies Peter, because the reality here is that Spider-Man's scared of the Punisher. Not terrified enough that he would never confront him, but the Punisher, this guy is intense, right? When you come face to face with Frank Castle, you better make peace with whatever God you believe in, because the goal of Frank Castle is to send you to meet your maker, which he most assuredly will do. So it's a pretty extreme level of violence when it comes to this guy. And so they jump out the window and try to escape as best they can while fending off members of the hand. Now, they're able to do it relatively fast, but that's the tip of the iceberg, right? I mean, between the three of them, right, they're able to handle these guys quite readily. They just pummel the hell out of them. But here's the thing, right? At that point, the question's asked by Rachel, how many more are there? And Spider-Man just says, my spider sense is not kicking me in the temple anymore, which generally means that we're safe. And he asks, right, Daredevil, do you see anything? And Daredevil's like, I'm looking at 360 degrees. There's sirens approaching, but there are no hand members. And so that's when it's a chance to sit down and figure out what to do next. And so Matt says, right, the only reason I've been able to keep the Omega Drive from Hydra and the other mega crime lord cartels this long is because one of them has to figure out how to take it without starting a global gang war with all of the others, which is a fair point. If Advanced Idea Mechanics, for example, were to take the drive from Matt Murdock, now they become public enemy number one, and it would actually provide them with a massive level of control over all the other crime families. Blackmail, essentially. But again, as Matt points out, if that happens, you're talking about a gangland civil war. And so he says, I got tired of waiting, so I brought down Black Spectre right in front of all of them and confessed that I was getting an itchy trigger finger. And so at that point, Rachel just says, so phase 1 was to force contact. What was phase 2? And Matt's just like, improvise. I didn't really have a phase 2. I didn't have a second part of this plan. I was just kind of going by the seat of my pants and just figuring out what to do next. And so that's where Frank says, right? Black Spectre had a leave behind, made certain everyone from the Hand to Zodiac knew you had the drive. And that's where Spider-Man's like, and that's how they painted a giant target on your back. And he says, for the love of God, Matt, why didn't you just hand the drive over to S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers? And Matt says, insurance. While I have it, Megacrime won't dare come after Matt Murdock's friends or co-workers. And that's where Rachel calls them naive. She's like, sure they will, right? They always will. They will always make the innocent pay. And you're a fool to think otherwise. And that's when Peter picks up on who Rachel is, recalling back to the newspaper article from the Daily Bugle about her family being massacred at her wedding. So now he realizes she thinks and functions the same way as Frank Castle. Her statement that the enemies will always come for you is not an honest and objective kind of observation of the nature of the criminal world. She's out for revenge. And so her entire view of the world is clouded by her own personal experience. And so that's where Punisher just says, you want to solve your problem, give me the drive. And Spider-Man's just like, so giving it to you is like giving a flamethrower to a pyromaniac. No offense to, pyromaniacs. But the Avengers, Matt, Reed will understand, right? Besides, what's he gonna do with it, right? That thing is not like a USB drive, right? It's firewalled and copy protected to a subatomic level, right? Only someone like Reed has ready access to even mine that drive. And so he would have pulled all the data from it, not just lame duck Black Spectres, if you had asked him to. And so that's where Matt just says there wasn't time. And he says, but even then, there was some overlapping info on the other cartels. And so that's where Peter just says, perfect, right? And none of us plays defense better than offense, correct? And so that's where Rachel, in hearing all of this, just kind of says, wait, so you're suggesting a coordinated plan of attack? And Peter says, exactly. Daredevil gives Death Wish 1 through 400 the intel, of course referring to Frank, because Death Wish was just a series of movies where they just wouldn't stop making it. And he says, you two lead us straight into the lion's den. And he says, while Reed's gizmos prep for download, we can keep Megacrime too busy to strike at Daredevil by running the noisiest 3-man and 1-woman blitz of all time. And so initially Frank's like, no, right? It's just drawing too much attention. It's making too much noise. And Spider-Man's like, I think you mean yes. Otherwise, you're passing up the chance to hit 4 crime cartels all before dawn. And Frank's like, well, I mean, when you put it that way, we'll need 40 minutes to prep the action, right? And Peter's like, with 0 fatalities? And Frank's like, 45 minutes. But yeah, we can do that. And so that's when the plan comes together. Daredevil says, okay, then that's the play. One night of chaos. Draw all the crime families into the open. And Spider-Man finishes that and says, and then very showily and very definitively destroy the Omega Drive before their very eyes, returning your life to whatever the hell you call normal. Keeping in mind, they would have downloaded all the information off the drive before they destroy it. And so at that point, Frank's like, so wait, we're gonna destroy it? Then like, what do I get out of all of this? And Peter's like, what do any of us get out of all of this, man? Like, we're doing this to help Matt. Like, that's the whole point behind this. Now Frank's just kind of like, okay, fine. Meet us at this address in 1 hour and be ready for a very, very long night. And it is, man. I told you guys, it's one of the best stories, right? And so at that point, you end up switching over to Punisher, specifically Punisher issue number 10 from Greg Rucka. Now, the cool thing about this is that it doesn't really switch perspectives the way you normally see when it comes to crossover stories that jump between individual comics. It just tells one cohesive narrative that spreads across all 3 comics, which is really, really phenomenal. And so you pick up with Daredevil, where he's like, Reed doesn't really mind you essentially breaking into the Baxter building and then using all of his stuff. And Spider-Man's like, I'm doing science. Right? Reed loves it when I do science. And so that's when he says, right, hit the red button. And Daredevil's like, which one am I supposed to hit? And Spider-Man's just like, the big one in the middle, my guy. And he's like, I hope I got this right. Otherwise, I will fry every electronic south of the 45th parallel. And so what you end up realizing here is that at the outset, it's just a data scrape, right? Spider-Man says that. We can give the information to Frank and to Rachel. And so that's where Daredevil says, but here's the problem. The drive is made of unstable molecules, so how do you even destroy something like that? And that's where Spider-Man reveals a device that he's created that will break down unstable molecules. Now, this, of course, is really rooted in Spider-Man's time as part of the Future Foundation. Those of you guys who aren't familiar with that, it was during Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four run when Spider-Man had basically joined the Fantastic Four. It was pretty amazing. Yes, we covered it. We'll post a link to that down in the description as well. But that's where Spider-Man says, you do realize that what we're doing